GM based heads, or as they say in the classics, BM. My name is Gerry and welcome to another Based Space, a safe space for the Based AF community to come together and navigate all the madness and all the things that make up Based AF. And if you're new here and you're listening back to this on Twitter or YouTube afterwards and wondering what Based AF is, here's my elevator pitch. Based AF is a modern take on a content creation studio, producing entertaining and thought-provoking content, pushing the limits of human experience and expression by exploring emerging technologies. The team's cutting-edge motion capture studio and digital playground allows them to explore augmented reality, artificial intelligence, Web3 technologies, and of course, virtual reality, while navigating a new course where user-generated content and content creators are king. Think of Based AF as MTV, but for the metaverse, and it's powered by the Based Heads, a set of digital collectibles with untold powers, your virtual backstage pass, where you can star in the action, help drive the narrative, or even share in the spoils. Here's a quick summary from all the updates from Trashland and Based AF. So Tom and Dan have been at it again with another edition of WTFAI, and this time it's a music edition. So Tom and Dan had to guess the voice, the song, and the next line of lyrics to some amazing AI-created music mashups that were created by a rather British music thief and the aptly named Nick Songs. It was a seriously funny and bizarre video, especially the Girls Just Want to Have Fun song, which was sung by an AI version of Jordan B. Peterson, who sounded exactly like Kermit the Frog to me.
And girls, they want to have fun. Oh, girls just want to have, that's all they really want.
Ooh, the saxophone. Kermit and Jordan Peterson actually sound identical.
So if you're in the mood for some lols, check it out. It really is very funny and pretty well done. Pretty interesting to see what the mashups they've managed to make. They're actually pretty good musically, even though they're really bizarre. With some of the AI voiceover stuff that doesn't come across so well, but they've done a good job putting these ones together, whoever actually did in the background. So that was a good video and another sort of fun take on AI. So check that one out. Luke Franks, he continues to crush it with his regular video podcast episodes. And his latest is all about the Unreal editor for Fortnite and the revenue sharing model implemented by Epic Games for content creators. And it really feels like it is a big moment and one step closer to the metaverse. And what I found really interesting is seeing the product market fit that Luke's videos are now starting to get. It seems that we're tapping into a whole new group of viewers, with the YouTube algorithm pushing the Based AF content out to a broader audience, which is super encouraging to see that happening organically. The UEFN video that Luke did has had over 5,000 views in just 6 days. And his digital sneaker video has gone from about 1,000 views to over 10,000 views just in the last week. And that one's really surprised me because I thought that was a bit of a niche thing. But clearly it shows even in some of these niches, there's still some pretty big audiences out there that can generate interest and start clicking on and watching these videos. So that's really impressive and super encouraging. Luke's video of Fortnite joining into the Olympic esports series for shooting has also attracted 8,000 views in just 11 days. So that's also getting some really good traction. So must be super pleasing for Robin and Luke to see that sort of engagement coming through via the actual podcasts, which were kind of an additional extra. I don't think that was necessarily part of the original vision, but Luke's been such a good get for the team. So it's brilliant to see that regular content that he can bring to the table. It also seems like on top of that, we're going to see extra weekly episodes of Into the Metaverse. So it looks like there's going to be maybe a weekly chat between Robin and Luke, just to sort of check in and do a bit of a brain dump of everything that they're seeing across all the industries that we're currently tracking. So that'll be quite interesting, a nice little casual way for those guys to catch up and us to sort of get a bit of insight into what's on their radar and what they're checking out. So that was really cool. And the one that got dropped yesterday was about Google becoming an AI company with Google Bard, which has just been released, which is basically their version, a free version of ChatGPT that also has ties into the internet. So it's almost like an updated version of ChatGPT. It still has some issues, but it's free, so check it out, give it a go. There's nothing to lose. They also talk about the Hollywood writers' strike, also AI girlfriends, which was quite interesting. And then they discussed the meme coin mania that we've seen pop up recently with the explosion around this Pepe coin and Turbo. And what mates hit the big time with the Turbo token. Apparently, he put in $69 and turned it into, about half the value of a house. Pretty crazy. As you can see, Auli's joined in. I'll just see if do you want to come up to the stage to talk, Auli, if you're available? I'll just invite you up if that's cool. Okay, just sending that invite out if you can join me. No drama if you can't. I'll press on with the update. So where were we? Robin also mentioned toward the end of that discussion with Luke, this feature video is going to be all about Apple and their metaverse strategy and how they're basically the only large Web2 company at the moment that hasn't been laying off staff in mass in this recent downturn that we've had. So I think Robin's expectations are that the reason that they're being able to sustain all their staff and keep them on is because of this VR headset that they're seemingly about to drop, which was probably going to be a massive moment for the whole industry and the perception around the metaverse in general. If anyone can generate interest, it's going to be Apple. They seem to be able to create entire new industries on their own and sort of basically get people to embrace at a mainstream level certain types of technology. When you've looked at what they've implemented over the last 20, 30 years, it's been quite remarkable how they managed to be able to completely shake up industries whenever they release something. So that will be very interesting indeed. Okay, next up, Robin spoke last week at NFT Talon in Estonia, and our awesome community member, Julius, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, he attended the conference and recorded and uploaded Robin's 17-minute set. So that was awesome to get that insight. I've uploaded an edited copy to my channel too if you want to check it out, but it's also available, I think, in the Discord as well. On top of that, the Base.eth team has also dropped a little video of NFT Talon to celebrate their limited edition version of Fraz Pure Crank. So they released that on Twitter. I'm not sure if that's all we're going to see as video content out of NFT Talon or not, but it's still a nice way to sort of show how they can represent their own brands, and it's quite well done. So that was good to see. The Pure Crank cans also doubled as Base.eth business cards with a QR code on the back. So that's a super clever marketing strategy. And Curb also mentioned that they're going to be doing something similar for the NFC non-fungible conference that's happening in Lisbon in early June, I think. So that will be fun. Hey, Auli, are you available to talk? Are you going to be able to make it to that conference? That's not too far from you, is it?
Yeah, good morning, Gerry.
Yeah, great, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, doing great. Yeah, it's going to be fun in NFC Lisbon, and hopefully I'll be able to make it because I think I'll be available during those dates. I think it's the 7th and the 8th
awesome.
of June. And yeah, more Base.eth team members will also
cool.
be there. And as you mentioned, Curb is designing a special Fraz can for NFC Lisbon, similar to NFT Talon, and it was actually great to see because he's been asking base heads on Discord. He's already chosen one, I think, a few hours ago. I think yesterday night. But he basically asked the base heads to send their base heads, and he'll choose one for the design of the can. So that's it's quite amazing to see how we're kind of starting to utilize the IP of the base heads in different ways, and this is just one of them. But it was very cool to see.
Yes, it is. It's really, really cool. I just had a quick look in the Discord there, and yeah, I think it's Escape Herd. He owns the base head, so he's going to score himself a little slab of this limited edition Fraz, which is pretty cool. I don't know if he's going to get there in person or not. I'm not sure where he is located, but that must be pretty cool. Like, you're pretty stoked to see your own NFT getting repped like that to thousands of people at an NFT conference. It's like, yeah, I own that guy. How cool is that? So totally agree. Like, that's one of the super cool things about the brands within Trashland. It's such a clever model to try and propagate the awareness around, what Base.eth is building, and later on they'll be able to monetize those and share the spoils with the community. So that's brilliant. Can't wait to see what they do. I don't know if Robin's going to be going to the conference or not himself as a speaker, or if it's just going to be one of the other team. but that'll be interesting to see if there's any coverage like they did at NFT Paris, because that was quite cool. Okay, so next up on the update, still got a few more to get through, believe it or not. It's been a busy week. Where were we? So, Tom Letts, he casually announced in the Based AF Discord that the first book at the centre of the monthly Based AF Book Club would be the 1992 Neil Stephenson classic Snow Crash. Now, Tom made a complete and utter mockery of the decentralised nature of a Web3 project by unilaterally making the decision on his own with no formal governance process. So that was a bit disappointing. Of course, I'm just joking, but we can expect to see potentially a Fraz-fueled fireside chat about Snow Crash in about a month or so's time. So stay tuned and get reading, or you can just use ChatGPT to summarise it if you want to be informed and take part in the fireside chat. Robin also mentioned featured on an amazing podcast discussion with Seed Club, the YouTube channel, and Web3 Incubator, and he was interviewed by Jess, also known as That Tall Guy on Twitter. So the Seed Club is a Web3 accelerator, and they're backed by some pretty big players in the space. And I'm not sure if they're involved at all in this round that Based AF is doing, or maybe a previous one, or it could have just been a general discussion. But it really was an excellent listen. It was around the inevitability of the metaverse. And again, I've uploaded a copy and put some edits in there and put it on my YouTube channel. So give that a watch if you want to get sort of the lowdown on Robin's current thinking about the metaverse and how it's inevitable. And he delves a little bit more into where we're going as a human race, basically, and sort of merging more and more with technology. So that was really interesting listen. Check that one out. Also, it's kind of worth noting that people are starting to pay attention a bit more publicly, and some sort of key figures have sort of publicly commented on the video around the holodeck and the motion capture studio. So including the likes of Raoul Powell of Real Vision and Jamie Burke of Outlier Ventures, and both of those guys host regular Web3 focused podcasts. So there seems like there's a good chance at some point Robin might make an appearance on those podcasts, which would be great to raise further awareness around Based AF and what he's currently thinking about the metaverse. Next up, there was the soft launch, no pun intended, of the Dildo Dash area, which took place last Friday with an opening night party and virtual DJ set with the crew from the Broadside NFT collection. So that was a whole heap of fun. I only managed to do about the first half of it before I went back to bed because it was the middle of the night for me, but it was really a lot of fun to get in there and see everyone having a great time around the shaft, dancing and jumping around and getting used to practicing for the Dildo Dash game. So congratulations if you made it to the top. You had a bit more patience than me. And I'm assured it's going to be much harder than what we experienced when the actual game goes live. So also the Radio 6 radio, that's been put out, that's going to be streamed regularly into that area. So I have a feeling this might be a semi-open space going forward that anyone can just drop into and chill out in, and we might have some other live events in there over time, so that'll be fun. So yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up. Has been a massive week for Based, and I didn't even really mention the constant community content that you guys are pushing out. So quick shout out to Markla, Digirati, Mr. Based, Satenza, Ray Sonic, Mahathir, and many others. You're all killing it, and we love to see that regular content. So, keep it up, guys, and it just keeps driving that sort of positive flywheel within the Discord and the community. So it's awesome to see. Cool. So that's enough of my monologue. I might just check back in with you, Auli. How are you going? How have you been these last couple of weeks? What's been on your radar in Web3 and the metaverse?
Yeah, I've been doing good, just keeping it based, and just to comment on a few things you were talking about. We are gonna be utilizing the shaft location as much as possible. There's a community call coming up later this month, so at the end of the month, and we're looking to stream it live on the shaft. So to start also to use the place, because it's a very cool place and it's something very unique we have. And we want to start utilizing it much more for the community to just be able to just drop in there and just participate in more live events that we can kind of do in there. So that's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to be it's gonna be there by the end of this month. And then yeah, I mean, also one of the other things we've been kind of working on in terms of related to the Baseheads community is opening up the Sixers channel to be read only for everyone, so that whenever Curb posts work in progress in there, everyone can sort of like see what he's working on behind the scenes, and he can sort of like share all the progress that's been done behind the scenes. And then obviously the Sixers will be the only ones to kind of be able to give direct feedback to Curb whenever he posts stuff there, which is also quite good. I mean, we've just come to the conclusion that it is much better to kind of be able to showcase what we're working on to as many people as possible, to kind of get more people hyped up about what we're doing, because otherwise it just feels like too niche. And it doesn't really
especially
help
us. We're still really early on, and it's
see.
still relatively small in terms of the numbers and engagement. So I think it's important that the people you do have, keep them close. And that's still a big barrier to entry for a lot of people to get 6 of these guys. And looks like the votes, it's not quite unanimous, but it's certainly about 90% in favor of that. So I think that's probably the right way to go for sure, Auli, definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be, as Curb can sort of like just share work in progress with everyone. I'm sure he'll be able to just share more than he's been sharing up until now, because he just wants to wait until the Sixers is sort of read only for everyone once the voting ends. I think tomorrow, 3 p.m. CET. Because I mean, as we said, there's like so much stuff that he's working on that he wants to share, and it's just like much more positive for everyone, I think, to just be able to see.
Absolutely. It definitely will keep the engagement up, hopefully a lot more. And then people who aren't a Sixer, they can sort of peek behind the curtain, so to speak, and they might go, okay, I get what it's about, a bit more about now, and actually I want to have a little bit more input at that level, and maybe they can work their way up to collecting 6. And don't forget, you can actually earn based heads by just being an active participant through that process known as the threshing. We haven't sort of, touched on that a whole lot. At least Robin hasn't since the mint, but it's there. It's a mechanism that's always there. And if Robin sees someone in the community, that's really adding value, they might actually receive an extra based head or whatever it is that they need to maybe complete their set. So that's another cool process just to help drive that engagement. And it's all about adding value. And the better the whole ecosystem goes, the better that everyone benefits. So it just makes sense to help protect and reward and incubate that activity. So it's really good to see for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. And also in terms of driving engagement and just including as many base heads as possible into everything we're kind of working on and experiencing with, and kind of our vision of not only entertaining people through content, but also kind of inspiring the base heads to create content. We're also starting to think on some type of quests that we can create, which are going to be monthly quests, which are going to be very creative, and it's going to be a way for us to include as many base heads as possible into the creative process and into enabling the base heads to experiment, and not only those that are kind of available to do those daily quests, but just anyone. And that's why we'll kind of give 1 month for those more like one-time quests that we're going to be working on.
That's a good one.
And we're also going to be, we're also thinking on, more creative rewards beyond XP. Obviously, XP is gonna be part of it, but just more fun stuff in terms of rewards that we can work on. So that's gonna be also interesting to see. But it's just something we're starting to think about, and it will hopefully come in June.
That sounds really good. I mean, I feel like the team's kind of turned the corner a bit. The last few weeks, it feels like there's suddenly a lot more traction. I know Robin badly needed a break because he'd been going crazy for 6 months or more. And I know the guys have also been working hard in the background trying to secure another raise, and that obviously takes a lot of energy and effort, especially for Robin being basically the CEO. And I'm sure he's in constant discussions with other people, and that would be pretty exhausting while you're trying to build everything at the same time. So you can already tell that just in the last sort of week, there's a bit more content starting to flow through, and that is just great. It just shows that there's more positive momentum, basically, the more stuff that they can get out. And we're starting to see the numbers really tick up in the viewership, which is super encouraging. I was really shocked today when I looked at Luke's stats and realized that his digital sneaker video had gone from 1,000 views to about 10,000 in the space of a week. So I don't know. Have you seen that one, Auli?
Yeah, we're starting to gain a lot of traction, and as you said, we're starting to kind of have a more structured kind of YouTube consistency because we're already at 2 podcasts a week, so Monday and Wednesday, and then the Thursday shows every Thursday, and it's very cool to see kind of the momentum picking up. We're also starting to focus. We've kind of we also stopped kind of creating content exclusively for Twitter, and starting last week, we started to really say, okay, we need to focus on also creating exclusive content and high quality content for Twitter, to just show bits and pieces of what we're working on, and just work on also like these mini productions that we can work on for Twitter, because Twitter is really like a big part of kind of the flow of people going from say Twitter to then our YouTube channel and our Discord. So we're also starting to kind of focus on creating, very unique and kind of focused on virality pieces of content for Twitter. So I think it's also something we've been working on, and hopefully it shows. I mean, we're quite impressed. Last week, obviously, it was pretty, like, very well made. The video about like the trailer for the Shaft, and it got quite a lot of views on our Twitter. So that's also pretty good to see. And I mean, overall, I think we're kind of as you said, compared to like maybe a month ago, this past a couple of weeks, we've been really focusing on the content, and it's showing that it's working.
Yeah, totally.
And that's
great.
I
kind of feel like Twitter's almost a little bit kind of like word of mouth. So you get the right like or the right retweet, and suddenly it opens up a whole new audience that are pretty closely aligned to what you're already doing, but they just didn't discover you. But with YouTube, it's a bit more, a bit more passive. You're a little bit more removed from being able to directly interact. Obviously, you can't just like and retweet and comment to someone on YouTube. So it is really clever to have that multi sort of platform strategy. And it sounds like I remember last time we spoke, Ali, you mentioned I'm going to start using Twitch to stream occasionally, maybe with the monthly catch-ups. So you mentioned that they're also going to probably do this next month's one from the Shaft area. Do you know, are they planning to stream that into Twitch? Is that the concept?
I think the decision is to do it at the Shaft, to kind of, now that the place is ready, to utilize that place. But hopefully in the future we're also going to be experimenting on Twitch.
They could probably,
especially for gaming, it's a really interesting
platform. I was going to say they could probably just like multicast or simicast it, just stream someone in the Dildo Dash environment during the talk onto Twitch, just to get it sort of up there and out there, and maybe that's another way just to get a few more eyeballs on it. So I'm not sure technically how hard that is to do, or how well that would come across, but that could be something they might already be thinking about maybe. So interesting. Yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. I feel like there was a little bit of a lull just for a few weeks there, but you could tell that they were just so busy with the holodeck and getting everything running with that. And I'm pretty excited because we haven't actually seen much content come out of that yet, but it sounds like it's almost there. And I mean, they're always going to be tweaking it and iterating on it. But it sounds like it's just about ready to go. So I'm guessing we'll start to see some more of that sort of metaverse native content, for lack of a better term. And obviously the Fortnite angle is a huge one that they're going to be driving towards. So that'll be fun to see what they can build out and push out into the Fortnite environment using UEFN, and that should give us a lot more exposure to a much broader audience. So that'll be exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, I mean, now that the Shaft is ready and with the Monoverse, we also got like quite a lot of traction in there, and also on the Twitter Spaces we did during the party. So that was cool to see. But yeah, I think also experimenting with other platforms which are like more for mass onboarding, like Fortnite and Unreal Engine and all that stuff. that's going to be super dope.
Yeah, well. Definitely a lot to look forward to, for sure. So one thing I wanted to pick your brains a little bit about, Auli, is you're rocking a Clone X as your PFP, and the title of today's space is Let's Get Digital. And I know that I think Clone X, they're associated with Artifact and Nike, aren't they? I don't know a whole lot about the project. Like, what would be the quick sort of rundown on what they're all about, and do they have a physical element, or is it just digital?
Yeah, so Clone X was the 20K avatar collection launched by Artifact, which is kind of a digital brand that then got acquired by Nike, I think in late 2021. I think it was December 2021. They got acquired by Nike, and then they've just been focusing on, like, one of their primary focuses has been kind of like merging the physical and the digital world through experiences and products. And they've also focused a lot on their creator community and their community of like Clone X's by giving them tools like they did with the 3D avatars, the 3D Clone X's, and then they've also experimented with AR filters for the Clone X's. So they've just been doing a lot of experimentation with tools for their community to kind of create content and experiment. They've done a lot of work, I think, with Blender as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that's like kind of like a quick rundown and kind of like to relate it to this Spaces title. I think what they've kind of done quite well, which was the latest thing they kind of dropped, which was the Air Force One collection the collection of Air Force Ones in collaboration with Artifact and Nike, and it's quite interesting because they created like very digital native experiences to acquire those shoes, and then now you can forge them, which is this concept they use to kind of merge to merge both the digital experience and then the physical shoes itself. So I think the process of forging those shoes, I didn't personally acquire any. I don't have any, but I think it ended last week, where you could basically if you had the digital NFT of the Air Force One, you could kind of like forge it and then receive the physical Air Force One. So that's kind of like the process they did to merge the NFT and the physical itself. Yeah. And for one of the, I think it was very cool. One of the promotions they did in real life for the shoes, I think they did it in Tokyo, but it was these posters where the QR code was an AR filter, where basically you'd go up to the poster and you could see, apart from just seeing a picture of the shoe on the top of the QR code, if you scan the QR code, you could kind of experience an AR filter of the shoe itself, and you could just like look around it like if it was there in real life. So that's a very awesome, cool experience they created in kind of like in the real life world.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's so interesting where all this is headed for sure. I do vaguely remember seeing, I think they had one of the corner buildings there that's got the wraparound screen, and people like they put all sorts of advertisements in there that literally look like they're 3D and jumping out of the building, and pretty sure those guys did that as well. It just looks so dope when you see that. I wish I was there in person. It looks amazing just on screen. I can't imagine what it looks like when you're actually standing there in person. Seeing some of the crazy advertisements that go through that, and yeah, the whole AR thing, I think that's really going to onboard a lot of people into more sort of digital applications that they can relate to. And there's a lot of conjecture around what the metaverse actually is, and I just feel like AR filters on smartphones is going to capture so many sort of people and make it directly relatable to them, and have those immersive experiences right there in their hand. I mean, it's not the same as being in full VR, clearly, but that's such a huge leap for most people, I think, still for a while yet. But it will be interesting to see what Apple do with their headset. So, but yeah, this week's video, the deep dive into Apple, should be really, really interesting. Like, do you have any thoughts on Apple and their metaverse strategy and what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for tomorrow's video to have an opinion on it, because to be honest, I haven't deep dived into it, but it's gonna be an interesting video, because I think Apple will kind of be a major player in that sector for sure.
Yeah, definitely. They always they couple the software, the in-house software that they make so well with the hardware. It really is a complete package when you buy something through Apple. Even though I'm not an Apple fanboy at all, like I totally get why they do have a lot of fans. So I'll be really interested to see what it comes with, and you know, they must have some killer app. They'll have some killer app that goes with it that everyone just has to have and wants. I don't know, like a modern version of Pokemon Go or something that's going to blow up and be viral. I can just feel like something's coming. It's not going to be just the hardware. There'll be some viral app that's built in there for sure. So that'll be interesting. So we just got.
I mean, I think, I'm not sure if it was Luke or Robin that was talking about kind of the smartphone disappearing in the next few years, in the next, I don't know, like 5 years, and just being replaced by more immersive experiences with AR glasses and stuff. So I think, you know, Apple is like very well positioned to kind of take that leap and just make that transition happen in the mass adoption world. So I think it's gonna be a cool video, and obviously it's gonna be very interesting years for kind of the smartphones and AR experiences, and how Apple kind of can lead that space and that transition.
I guess I feel like they'll be the ones that really drive this forward, to be honest, even though it's sort of through gritted teeth a little bit that I'm saying that. I think like once Apple drop their smartphone and like don't offer it at all anymore because there's the VR headset version or whatever it is, that's when you know. That's when you know the smartphone is dead. But I still think that's a good 5 years out. That's just my gut take. But just because I think it takes out for the return on investment, they're gonna have to build so much tech into these things to make them amazing, and that ain't cheap. So it's probably going to be a loss leader for them for several years. But you know, if you want to onboard the masses, that's what you have to do, I guess. So it's going to be really fascinating. What else has been on your radar in the last couple of weeks, Auli? Have you sort of been delving into anything outside of base that you found of interest? Before I continue, a quick word from our sponsors that make the show possible.
Just thinking about it, I think in terms of other stuff happening in the NFT space, I'm also looking forward. I think it's tomorrow. I'm not sure if you've been following it, but the launch of the Pudgy toys from Pudgy Penguins.
Okay, that's the real life toys, is it? Are they part of an NFT drop?
Yeah, it's the real life toys, but I think I haven't read much about it. But I think there's also a digital experience there, and the toys itself are tied into NFTs. I'm not sure how they do it, but I'm not sure if it's like through NFC tags, or I'm not sure the tech behind it. I'm not sure about like the tech behind it, because I know they're also focusing on, like, they've partnered with like big mass distribution channels like Shopify and Amazon. So it's gonna be like, from what I've seen, my perspective is it's gonna be kind of a mass distribution product. So it's not gonna be like very like super high and exclusive as for example the Air Force One that Artifact launched. I think it's gonna be like much more like a lot more quantity of toys, because they really want to onboard the masses, mostly through the IP of the Pudgy Penguins, because I think it's this cute IP kind of category where the Pudgy Penguins fall into, and they've kind of been leading that category. So I think it's going to be interesting.
Hello Kitty crowd, isn't it? And it's the Web3 equivalent. I guess Cool Cats is probably the other one, or maybe even Doodles, that kind of have that vibe, I guess. Maybe not so much Doodles, a little bit more of an adult take on it, but I kind of feel like Cool Cats has a similar thing. But I think Pudgy Penguins has just been killing it on TikTok, hasn't it? Like, that's been their big marketing strategy, blowing up on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, Pudgy Penguins is a success. It's like a success case, at least from like what they were when where they were 1 year ago and where they are now. It's just like a success story up until now, and there's like so much to analyze from what Luca has been able to do since he bought Pudges, I think in April 2022. And one of the big things is they've been really focusing on the GIFs, and they have like a Giphy page. I think they have two Giphy accounts. So what they've been doing is utilizing the IP of the Pudgy Penguins to create GIFs in-house with
And
ideas from the community. So basically,
make them go viral. That's clever.
Yeah, I mean, basically the community, the Pudgy Penguins, they have a place in the website where they can throw ideas of what they'd like their Pudgy to do in a GIF. And then the team in-house scans through those ideas and they kind of create these GIFs. And then they upload them into Giphy, which is integrated in Discord, it's integrated in WhatsApp, Instagram, all these platforms. And I think they have over 3 billion views altogether, like all those GIFs, which is crazy.
That is nuts. Yeah. Holy shit.
And I think they've also been blowing up on Instagram lately.
Okay.
They have like a few reels that have, I don't want to be wrong because I don't know the exact numbers, but I think over 2 million views, some of them, which is crazy. So,
that's awesome.
I mean, it's just like this cute IP category.
That's really positive for the whole space. Like, you kind of got to embrace any win for anyone in, like, you know, in the middle of the bull market, everyone's so tribal. And I guess even now, maybe more so, everyone gets a bit sensitive. But once you realize everything you've got has gone to zero, you kind of give up. And it's like, oh, cool, someone else is winning. They're doing really well. This is brilliant for the space in general. You've got to take a step back and go, okay, it's not just about my particular bags. It's about the industry getting some credibility back. And you know, that's great. Like if people can some way work their way back to understanding the value proposition of blockchain and Web3 through a toy in Walmart, that's good for us. That's good for the industry, I think. So, and that's a good use case. I mean, I can sort of see parallels with some of Robin's thinking with what he's doing, you know, getting us to do as a community with the based heads. It's obviously not quite the same, but that empowering co-creation and community collaboration, and you know, that can be quite powerful, especially in Web3 with social media, and you can get something that goes viral. That's a super clever marketing play, really, and it's at very low cost, basically. So I think the whole paradigm of marketing has just it's being flipped on its head as we speak. And I don't know if you saw Robin's talk in Talon, but that was one of his main points about the culture. The media, traditional media culture is changing. And these old media companies are just dying. They're just falling over in the space of months because they haven't been able to understand the new climate that they're in, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think Robin has said it a few times, but it just feels like everything, like too much things are blowing up on our face right now with like traditional media, and now with like obviously the boom of AI. There's so much stuff going on, but it just feels like we're, you know, very uniquely positioned as Base.eth, a company, to kind of thrive in this new world where just everything is blowing up and there's just like a big transition happening. So that's really what I'm mostly excited about.
I'm already finding value just from the knowledge point of view, and it's not even really designed to be, you know, Robin was like, oh, I don't want this to become like a boring educational DeFi 2.0, Defiant 2.0 thing. But even though they've been sort of leaning into that just a little bit, I've already found value just going, okay, I need to understand this stuff. I had no idea about Fortnite and, you know, this new creator economy that's coming out of essentially these Web2 behemoths. That's really interesting. And that sort of world sort of melding into, you know, what we're starting to sort of consider to be a more open metaverse. I just see that as a massive positive. And so I'm already really, really appreciative of the stuff that the guys are doing, and especially with Luke's stuff, because that is a bit more straight up and down, documenting, you know, what he's exploring, and a bit more of a news take, I guess. And so no, it's been like a breath of fresh air at the moment. Like, I'd be so despondent without Based right now, because it has been such a brutal bear market, especially for NFTs. And in the last like 2 months, you know, the bottom's really fallen away with all the floor prices. It's been kind of gnarly how badly it's getting crushed across the board. So just to have somewhere to go to and go, okay, I feel like I'm surrounded by, you know, like-minded tech curious people, that it's a really supportive environment. It's just a breath of fresh air. You know, if you go into any Discord from anything from 2021, 2022, it's just FUD hour every time you're in there. So I don't know how you find that with some of the other projects, but you don't get that in the Based AF one because it's so new. I mean, even though the prices are down since mint, no one seems to be too fussed, if you know what I mean. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think like firstly, I'm not very like super active on many other projects in Discord, but I just think apart from Based AF being new and all that stuff, I think it's also during these past few months we've just seen that those projects like Based AF that don't rely so much on the market sentiment are just thriving a lot more, and the community vibes are just much better than all those projects that just rely on market sentiment and on the bull market switch being on and not off. So I think that's also like a big part of it. And I think another example in terms of projects not relying solely on on market sentiment and on like kind of like the crypto cycle is Pudgy Penguins. So I think it's just like this type of projects that are just building beyond the market sentiment and just not being so much like not being solely dependent on the crypto cycle. So I think it's also very, very, very good to see these kind of projects become just thrive and just be able to thrive and build even if we're kind of in the bottom or in just deep bear market.
Yeah, I mean, I've only really been around pretty much one full cycle now. So, in relative terms, still pretty new, but in some ways a seasoned veteran because it's so weird the way crypto works, where one week is usually like a year. So I don't know, when I first got into it, the NFT projects weren't even a thing really. I mean, I vaguely knew of a few things. Like I knew that CryptoKitties blew up gas prices once in 2017 or something, and it was like big deal, and not much had happened since then really that had gained any traction. But now we've got all these micro communities, and a lot of people do argue that they're just an ICO with a picture or shitcoins with a picture, and that's going to be true for probably 90% of stuff, maybe 95% of stuff, maybe 99% of stuff. But like you said, the stuff that can build through the bear and has that well-managed treasury and managed to get maybe into stable coins and sustain themselves between cycles, they'll probably do really, really well next time, because the next wave, when you get that next wave of adoption and new entrants, they'll actually have stuff built that people will be able to look at and use and go, okay, this isn't just a white paper with a picture of a penguin or something. So now it's going to be pretty interesting. And to be honest, in many ways, I feel like a project that's actually launched post, well after the peak of the cycle, like that's a real big ask to try and launch in these conditions. So anyone that's launched in these conditions, you kind of know they're not trying to grift you. Like they've got to have pretty big balls to start with to even try and pull off something in this environment. So the ones that have launched more recently are kind of like, they're not tarnished from the last bull cycle. It sounds weird, but kind of in my mind, most stuff that was around in 2021 or 2022, early 2022, it's sort of like, in a way, it's a little bit tarnished. It's hard to know what was real because everything went up. And I guess now we're starting to find out. So I think we will find over the next 6 to 12 months, even there's going to be a lot of projects that just fall over because they've ran out of funding and, they haven't been able to manage themselves, or they realize the writing was on the wall and ends up being a slow rug, even if it's unintentional. So another project went under today. I don't know if you've heard of universe.xyz and the polymorphs. They pulled the pin today, and they've been building for a couple of years, and they were trying to build a DEX, but more like an NFT platform, sort of something to rival OpenSea, and it just never really gained traction. And it's like, yeah, okay, all these things had huge promise and everything went up during the bull cycle, but that only gets you so far. And at the end of the day, if people can't get a salary out of it, then they're not going to be building on it. Like, it's as simple as that. They need to sustain themselves. So I certainly feel like Based AF is well positioned. And one of the things that really caught my eye early on was like, okay, I understand what Robin's take is here, where he's trying to make something that's got a Web3 community that underpins it, because we know the positive nature of Web3 communities, that, you know, if it's harnessed well, it's a force to be reckoned with. But the actual profit centers aren't around Web3 at all. You know, they're going mainstream. And so for me, that was like such a unique proposition. And I can't think of anything else that's like based at all. Like, are there other content creation studios that you're aware of that are in Web3? It's not any that I know of.
No, I mean, I think it's very, like, what we're building at BaseTF is very unique. And I think in relation to what you were talking about before, about, you know, projects being able to build through the bear market are those that kind of will sustain over time, obviously because funding is very important. But also I think those projects that are able to grow even if there is a bear market, that's very unique. And obviously BaseTF is in there. Like, there's nothing stopping us. Like, there's no bear market stopping us from growing our YouTube channel and growing a community of creators who just want to experiment with new tech and create content. There's nothing stopping Pudgy Penguins from going mainstream with their Pudgy toys and just having the IP be recognized by millions of people around the world. So I think just those kind of projects that are not only able to build but also grow, even if the bear market is you know, on the bottom and just happening. I think that's like really where those projects that will succeed and that will sustain over time are.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, you've got to have something tangible to fall back on at the end of the day. And a lot of those other projects, they just haven't quite got to where they had hoped. And, you know, I've got so much shit in my wallet that I'm just riding to zero, basically. And it's just like, yeah, okay, I speculated on a whole bunch of stuff, but some of my bigger bets were on stuff that I feel like in the fullness of time have a higher percentage chance of actually getting somewhere. So, and I certainly feel like pretty confident Base is going to do well, and it might not reflect in the NFT price, but it's not really about that per se. It's, you know, the whole idea really is to not need to sell your NFTs. Like, I don't get the whole trading mentality around NFTs. It's sort of silly. It's like if you're in a good community, you don't want to sell. You want to be a part of that community and enjoy it. So it is a little bit of an issue because you don't have the liquidity to exit and enjoy some of that upside, because often the only way to get rewarded is either dilutive mints, which are a problem, or flipping the actual NFT and exiting the community. So where Base doesn't have to do that, you can hold these things for life, and you'll be able to get engaged with certain things, and you'll be able to get kickbacks through certain ways if you're active. So yeah, it's a super interesting take, and yeah, I think they've been quite clever with the way that they've set it up. Even though a lot of the underlying infrastructure and utility is not there yet, I trust that it's going to be, and it's just super exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally agree with you.
Yeah, too easy. Well, I don't have too many more talking points to cover. There was a lot in that update, so I'm really looking forward to this week's video. Did you have anything else that you wanted to cover today at all, Auli? If not, we might wrap things up, and I'll get this out on YouTube tomorrow.
I think that was it from my end. Just looking forward to today's podcast episode, and then tomorrow's Thursday show, and then later this month, end of this month, the community update, which I obviously highly encourage all of you to tune in because it's going to be a good one. And yeah, I think that was an update from my end.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Auli, for joining me. It really does help to help sort of kick the can around and get your thoughts on things, and especially given that you do work a bit closer with the team and have some of that extra intel. So that's awesome. And thanks very much, mate. And hopefully we'll be able to do this again in about a fortnight's time. And in between that, I'll do one for the more US friendly time zone in the mornings next week. So I'll probably try and get Hashith and Michelle and anyone else that wants to jump up on stage, and we can go from there next week. So thanks very much for tuning in, guys. And again, I'll put this up on the YouTube if you want a more visual experience, or if you get sick of Elon rugging you on Twitter like he does me all the time. So thanks very much, guys. It's been fun, and we'll catch up again next time.
Amazing. Keep it based, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoy this content, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and maybe consider watching one of my other videos. Bunnies up.